Welcome back to Love-Ru Darkness Anime Review Part 6. This I'm reviewing the last 3 OVAs released. Now, the thing with these particular OVAs, these were released, the way these were released were kind of weird, to say the least. Now, the fourth one obviously came out 4 months after the third one, but here's something you probably think is kind of weird. Okay, the fifth one comes out exactly 1 year later. Yes, 1 year later. And the last one comes out just a few months later. You're probably thinking, why do you bring up these release dates for these OVAs? Because you have like a year between the previous one and this and these ones. These are just so weird, to say the least. Of course, it's a series. Now, the first one is quite interesting, to say the least, because the first 2 stories feature Kikyo, the magical idol. Yeah, the girl who basically plays an actress who basically plays an alien, even though she really is an alien, on TV. The first one's about her and Run. Run's also the second one too, where you have Run basically now. Korgi already knows the fact that Run's got a thing for Rito. She's known all along. And apparently she was mildly distracted about the fact that, about thinking about Rito. And they do a scene. And they also have it where she's called the Blue Maiden. And she wears an outfit that looks like, I kid you not, like the top portion of the outfit basically looks like 2 claws holding her breast. Yes, someone seriously designed this costume this way for a top, where it looks like she has teeth going up her freaking breast. I'm not sure who the heck this Bradley was. So they have this scene in the episode where you have Kirski, where she's battling, well, a bunch of minions, and of course she's saved by the Blue Maiden from her rivals who team up. And then, of course, her top comes loose, but lucky enough that Kuro basically buys her time to fix it. And then something really weird happens with the robot of this group. Yeah, it's a guy in a costume. And it's not just any guy, it's the principal, because he's a notorious pervert. He is by far more perverted than probably Rito's best friend. Which, by the way, here's the strange thing about him in this series. Like, you know how he's pretty much been a supporting character in the original series? Like, he has less of a role than Lava does. I mean, in these OVAs altogether, like, he appears briefly for, like, a couple scenes. For, like, two or three of these. And that's it. He gets very little screen time. It's like, he's been shoved completely, like, out the room, this character. And then, of course, we see the 2 girls just showering later. No, they're not touching each other, in case you're curious about that. Just basically, it's one of those gym showers where they just take a shower. Of course, she knows that Ron was distracted by the fact she was thinking about the man she loves. And then the very next episode, the very next story, we actually have Kuriki come to the school where Rito is. Excuse me. And of course, we have, it's kind of like Koreski just basically interacting with all the regular cast members of the entire series. Like, pretty much everybody. Like, first she meets Yumi's mom, who just is a teacher, Teruji. And, of course, she personally asked Rito to escort around the school. Yep. Well, this is after she had to go to a lecture. And, of course, Run will be here, but she had to record a new song. So they had her basically go to school, and oh boy, like, here's kind of the thing. Basically, all the guys are jealous of Rito because he's got a smoking hot woman next to him. Like, wow. And then, of course, they start staring at him. He gets embarrassed by it. And then he comes across obsessed fans who want her autograph. And then he decides to get away and pick up Rito style. And, of course, they run away! Run, run, run! And, of course, we also have Lala and Hara in the classroom. And, of course, after chatting for a while, here Ruckus, then we have Lala switching to her alien costume. And do a little hoop, hide and seek. And they end up in a locker. Where here's the thing. Rito is 100% completely naked. Not the case of Kurchi. She actually still has her tie and her skirt. And they're naked in a locker. Yes. And it's a very embarrassing moment for her. But lucky enough, Lala, I think it was Momo who basically distracted everybody out of the classroom long enough to get their clothes back on. And then, of course, she just runs away because she's embarrassed by the situation. Though, she tries to run later, but it's obvious, though, she basically has fallen for Rito, another girl. And, of course, it was hinted that Momo wanted to add her to Rito's harem project. Yep. Now, last one does feature Yumi. Yes, the previous one does feature Yumi, but this one does feature her in a very interesting role. Like, apparently we have this creature that apparently Momo found. I think it was Momo or Nana. I think it was Nana. Where she apparently just gets wrapped up with Yumi, and of course, if you think of technical hentai, yeah, goes all over the place. And look how get away, and then apparently the tyrant finds out that she has weakness about squiggly things. Because apparently she's been spying on her. Of course, Mia is there too to see this. Oh yeah, and she openly refers to her as Big Sis. Which, I'm like, that's different. Like, because usually it's in private, and just the first time she actually referred to her as that. Because basically they all know that Mia is Yumi's little sister. They all know that. But this is the first time they've openly referred to her as that. And the time finds out, and of course, then she just, like, ooh, I rub my whip in this lotion, something all swiggly. Well, lucky enough that, Yumi's like, nah, slice the pieces. And she also basically threatens her, if you dare glance at me again, I'll kill you. That's basically what she says. I mean, it's not like that Yumi's in love with Miki. I don't think it's that. I think it's because she thinks she's basically, Miki was her first friend she basically made on Earth. Yeah, she's good friends with Lala, but I think it's basically Miki is more close to her age than Lala is. So I do like the fact they feature her. They do feature her in one of her story. I believe it was an episode in the 6th OVA for the Magical Gito. Yeah, she's briefly seen. Also, of course, the pervert's there too in that one. Yep. Now, the first one, of course, first one's about Mikan, where basically she's having a normal day, and of course, Lala does the usual gag where she walks to the bathroom without a towel on because she didn't bring a change of clothes. Of course she did. And unexpectedly, Mikan's classmates make a visit, and they get a chance to meet Rito and meet Lala and her sisters. There is no mention in the conversation that Lala is Rito's fiancé. As a matter of fact, it's never brought up in the series at all. I mean, it's still there, the fact they're still engaged. And for some reason, it's not really brought up very much at all. And then they leave, and of course they think Rito's cool, and they of course go back because one of them forgot their manga, and Rito slips again. A couple times, basically, he slips, and Mikan's on top of him. Of course, they think, oh yeah, they're close. Yeah, just by pure accident. The next one involves a mobile phone. Yes, like typical, Lala makes something and it goes horribly wrong. Like, pretty badly. Well, this one, it's like, we have... Apparently, Rito decided to leave his cell phone on the floor of his room. I'm like, dude, why would you leave your phone on the floor for? Oh, by the way, he still used a flip phone in the early 2010s. Now, I would think, though, that, like, if he's in his room, I would think the best place he would keep it is not on the floor, but on his desk. Also, is it just me, or is his room being rearranged a bit since the previous season? I thought that was kind of weird. Because I don't remember there would be a desk in the room, but they must have rearranged it. And it was also changed where previously his closet led into where Lala's room is, and here it's been altered a bit. Yeah, they basically redesigned the house without Rito's knowledge. So, So basically, we have Colleen reading out a pitch book, and of course, Rita wants to contact Yui to thank her for giving her the book, and he calls her and basically gets a conversation with her, and she's acting kind of weird, or she's acting like she's basically she's acting like she's getting off on hearing his voice, which I thought was kind of weird. Well, and then Momo basically is called with his phone, trying to figure out what the heck is going on. It turns out, though, that, well, despite the fact the phone does work, apparently the way Lala made it is that apparently people pass out when they hear Rito's voice. Yep. That's really the thing with this one. Moonlight Angel. This one is quite... Oh yeah, this is a big character one for this one. Okay, we have Rito going outside watering plants. They're like, oh, nice full moon. And he looks like, oh crap, there's a naked girl on his roof. But it's Colleen. She apparently has grown up. Apparently, yeah, this is her adult form. Which, by the end of it, she's back normal anyways. And everybody's kind of shocked the fact she's like this. And as far as they don't know how the heck this happened. And then by the end of it, she's basically back normal by the next morning, even after she's basically big. And not really much else there. Excuse me. Next one is a bit of a weird, like more weird stuff for this one. Oh my gosh, yes. So, the first one is basically Ron invites Rito over to her apartment. And she mentions that her brother is out on basically his Sunday shopping spree. My guess is she's able to afford him an allowance. And this is something I've got to bring up, though, about this. Like, they knew about the fact she could easily, like, you know, switch between male and female form. And then, apparently, because they've been split. And you have Ren apparently going into high school, no problem. There is, like, no mention of him basically talking to the principal about him transferring to school. Or mentioning that, like, hello, Mr. Principal. This is my brother. You may have seen him occasionally run around the school whenever I transfer over to him. We're now separated now. Yeah, and my guess is the reason why she's able to afford this very expensive apartment because she's an idol. Yeah. All because she's an idol. That's how I can think she's able to afford this place. It's a very nice looking apartment. It's a very luxurious apartment. Now, if this was the US, they probably would not have a teenager live by themselves. Because normally over here, unless you're 18, a lot of the time you gotta have a legal guardian live with you. That's basically how stuff is here. A lot of the time. And she's not 18. I think she's like 16, I think she is. And she's got her own place. And apparently they don't have like parental... Apparently like, I think 16 is like age of consent over there. I'm not sure what it is. So, the reason why Rito's there because take pictures of her in her very revealing swimsuit. Oh yeah, it's also mentioned she does work out. Yep, because I think it was mentioned in the previous one, or focus on her. Apparently she thought she was putting on weight because she's pulling out arms. She thought maybe that her arm was getting a little snaggy. But apparently working out basically is a good thing for her. Yes. Now, my opinion, by seeing women work out in the series with dumbbells, it's fine. I have no problem with that at all. It's basically something to do for these ladies. I mean, they gotta stay in shape anyways, otherwise they'll put on weight, which would be pretty bad for them to do. And apparently, this particular camera she's got, it's a mail order camera. Okay, the thing with mail order stuff, a lot of the time, from the stuff I've heard, unless of course it's books, you can't exactly trust stuff in mail order catalogs. Yes, I have ordered one thing from mail order. It was a book. It was a Hardy Boys book. Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew, where they were basically doing a team up mystery, where they were participating in the project to basically bring up the Titanic. I'm not kidding about that. And the way the series was written, apparently Joe had a thing for Nancy Drew. That's basically how the series was written. Yeah, Joe, a guy who's already got a girlfriend, is falling for Nancy Drew. Yeah. How would I know about this stuff? Because my dad got me into reading Hardy Boys. I like reading the Hardy Boys. I've read like almost a lot of their books. I haven't read every single one per se, but I've read a lot of them. I will eventually talk about some of it, maybe a novel review per se, even though it's been some time since reading these books. Of course, these books published back in the 50s, mind you. Yes, the books I have were handed down from my dad because he collected them. It was all but one he had. I had to buy them myself. But basically, back to this. So she puts on this powering device. I'm thinking powering device sounds like a Bluetooth. But no, it's a camera's AI powering with the cameraman's brain. Oh yeah, and here's the thing though. The camera's AI is a pervert. Like, how? Well, let's have Run be in sexual poses. Or have her basically lose almost all, like, have basically undo one part of her swimsuit and pull up part of her top in order to show off her breast. Just be her in a sexy pose. And then eventually the bottom part falls automatically off just because it's loose. And of course, you have the possessed cameraman takes off Rito's shirt. And everything goes crazy until the thing explodes. He gets bandages over his face. Apparently, this thing overheats after a while. Yeah, it's a weird one to say the least, but wow. Oh my gosh. Seeing Run in a swimsuit, it's almost like that she was wearing a very tiny bikini. Like, the bikini she was wearing was very small for her. Like, oh my gosh, it barely covered anything. It was more like she was just naked wearing, like, tiny bits of clothing. Yep. And next one's focused on Momo, where she's out shopping. Though, thing doesn't start particularly with that. Starts out with her in one of those dreams of hers, where she's wearing this very revealing underwear, where it acts like a freaking curtain, which... okay, I'm not really sure, like, if you're going to ask me personally, have I seen underwear like this? Only in the movies. Never in real life, because I am not into, let's just say, that stuff. No. And just by sheer coincidence, she runs into Risa. Yep. Who apparently decided to wear her school uniform. Because she has the brand thing, and of course they basically just hang out for a while, though she refers to it as a date, which I thought was kind of weird. Though she's hinted that she's bisexual. Because she basically likes teasing a lot. She likes teasing Haruna, Lala, Momo, and they chat for a while. Then, of course, you have Run encouraged to run away from the principal. And, of course, Momo gets covered in stuff. And then, of course, she gets invited over to Risa's house. Like, oh yeah, my house is nearby. Come take a shower at my place. Okay. And she's cleaning for a while. And then Risa walks in completely naked. And then she proceeds to wash. Yeah, Risa washes Momo in a very sexual way. And then at one point, basically, she got her turned around almost to the point of these two easily make out. And then Momo's like, nope, not interested. And then when she leaves, like, that reaction is very similar to someone I know. And then cut to the typical anime reaction, basically when someone talks with somebody, the person they talk about sneezes. Yep. It's a very weird one, this one. The last one, of course, it's a lot focused on Haruna. Starts with Haruna, where she's basically shopping at a bookstore. And just by sheer coincidence, Rito and Kalina are there. Yep. Rito's there because he wants to buy a cookbook to make this particular oni rice. It's basically an omelet for his sister. Nice gesture. And she's like, oh, I can make that. I can take some grocery bags to her place. Now, Rito's been to her house many times. One time as a dog. This is one of those times, basically, where they cook for a while. And then they have this really, like, weird erotic dream sequence where she apparently changes, puts on an apron. But here's the thing. It's a naked apron thing. Basically, she wears nothing under the apron. She's completely naked. Yeah. Apparently, the way this goes is that, oh, let's just put this on so she can seduce Rito. I should point out, though, this is one of 3 anime I've seen like this. The other 2 being High School DxD and, believe it or not, Fire Force I had a brief scene like this. Though it was by pure accident when Tomoko decided to put on a apron, not over clothing, mind you, but over her skin of her naked body. And of course, Cap's like, just put on the apron properly. Yeah, so it's been a couple of different anime I've seen like this. Has it been any other anime I've seen like this? Well, you're about thinking, okay, well, what about... here's one. My Wife is Doing President. She never did that. Yeah, the council president never did that in the series. She did wear an apron a lot of the time when she was at the vice president's apartment. Never wore it where she's naked. Nope, never. And you probably would think that she would do this, but she never did. Nope, never did. Not a lot of anime I've seen like this. Usually, a lot of the time, 2 out of 3 of these are somewhat erotic anime. But in the case of Fire Force, it kind of is, but really it's more action-oriented. But like I'm just a dream sequence, and of course, the cooking thing, he's like, so good. Of course, Kylie is playing with Maron, who is Haruna's dog, who apparently she decided to color on his face and hit under his neck. And then for some reason, of course, you have Kylie, of course, you have Rito catching Kylie as she was running around the house. And then Maron decides to do his unusual thing of basically pulling up Haruna's shirt just to lick her breast. And Kylie is sucking on him because she likes doing that. And then, of course, Rito, who has a spoon in his hand, accidentally puts the spoon underneath her panties and almost sees her private part, her groin. And then he's like, I'm sorry. Of course, he grabs Kelly and runs out of the apartment. Yep, runs out. And, of course, Haruna is just been embarrassed by it. So is Rito. Now, why is it, despite the fact he likes her, why did she keep slapping him for something completely by accident? I mean, the only person who technically doesn't slap him for what he does, for his accidents, is Lala. She apparently has no problem with him doing that. I think her and Momo. Yeah, her and Momo have no problem with it at all. Everyone else slaps him. Yep. Kind of a weird OVAs these ones were. I would say the ones basically are actually that were real. I like the Magicera ones, the 2 featuring her in the 4th one. I thought they were actually really good. I kind of thought there'd be something more with that, but nothing much there. The ones with Mikan, like the 3rd one featuring her, and of course the 1st one and the 5th one. 5th one was definitely necessary, definitely. The mobile phone, that was weird, to say the least. But in the case of Moonlight Moon Angel, that was basically a canon moment because this happened in manga too. So, yeah. So they had to have this happen. Like, have her basically go to this one. But yeah, that's pretty much all the OVAs that there is for the 1st season of the show. Between the 1st and 2nd season of the show. Now, like I mentioned in the last video, I am going to be taking a break from Love-Ru Darkness. Purely because the fact that, well, I decided that before I did Jobless Reincarnation, I'd work on this, and then Jobless Reincarnation to come back to this series. Excuse me. Rather than finish Jobless Reincarnation series. Luckily enough, I had finished the 1st season before I started watching the anime, and now I've watched all the OVAs. I'm officially taking a break from it. I will come back to this series when I finish up Jobless Reincarnation, and this will be before I do my next one, which I'll reveal that once I finish Jobless Reincarnation. What major anime based on light novel I'll do next after that. Okay? But in the case of anime, this is a case of videos today. This is going to be pretty much it, unless, of course, I get done. I'm going to watch Doctor Who as soon as I put this video up in the previous one. So, you may get a chance to see a video for that one. If not, probably tomorrow, okay? Next video. Bye.